Good morning, everybody. Unfortunately, today I won't be having any visual aids. I wasn't able to go do that. And I only have one person for my audience today, so I apologize for anything lacking in the speech. I'm joined today by my significant other.
Hello.
Okay, and today's topic is going to be why I believe students should have free college in the United States. Um, I want to present views on why college should or should not be free for students and the economic and financial effects it could have on students. Why should college be free? Why is it more beneficial for the students as well for the economy? So, jobs. Every country around the world needs a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, a medical assistant, a radiology technician, a mechanical engineer, and so much more. Too many to list. All of these jobs require something in common: college. However, if it's crucial for the well being of our country to have such high skilled jobs, why do we have to pay for something we will have to be doing for the rest of our lives? Or at least until retirement. College is something we must do to be relevant in society and to be able to live comfortably. We must pay to get education, and then we're forced to pay taxes from these jobs too, thus contributing to our economy. According to April 5th, 2025, University of the People by an unknown author, debt is inevitable, with the average debt per student being 28,950 by the time they're done, sometimes much more. It's no wonder why people struggle even with degrees. What are we talking about here? It comes down to debt and gaps in social status along with setbacks in economic standards. Let's break this down and first talk about debt. Most students who go to college inevitably finish with debt. According to July 26, 2023's National Center for Education Statistics by Josh De La Rosa, a whopping 3/4 of undergraduates receive some form of financial aid, and that's an astounding 72% of students. I was blown away with these numbers, by the way. I'm sure we all know that financial aid, although beneficial to you throughout school, is a temporary benefit. But once school is completed, the students have to pay back every cent. If students wouldn't have to pay back student loans, they can focus more on buying homes and other essential needs, boosting the economy in the process. I'm also using financial aid, and let me tell you, my tuition is way more than the average that it's stated, but those are in 2017 numbers. They're not stated in current terms. On top of that, if a class is failed, you must take that class over again, causing all sorts of monetary anxiety and failure. And fear of failure, sorry. July 2028, 2021's Cato Institute Federal Student Loans and Rising Tuition Costs, An Insider Speaks Up by David Boaz, states that in 1987, then Secretary of Education William J. Bennett argued that increases in financial aid in recent years have enabled colleges and universities blithely to rise their tuitions, confident that federal student loan subsidies would help cushion the increase. The same article by David Boaz states that while inflation has only increased about 26% since the 80s, student aid rose 57%. From 1995 all the way till 2017, that same article educated on the debt increase from 187 billion to 1.4 trillion, according to Monetary Value from 2017, in student loan debt. Tell me, how can that be a positive for any student ever? Now that we talked about the amount of debt students face, let's talk about how it affects social gaps in social status, sorry. When talking about gaps in social status, I'm talking about how the wealthy have more of an academic advantage during and after college. Students who come from a wealthy background automatically have an advantage when it comes to tuition and the choice of schools. They have more connections after graduation and are more likely to be chosen by an employer opposed to the non-private school students. If you were an employer, would you choose the Harvard student who graduated with all A's, or would you choose the graduate who did equally as well but graduated from a public community college? Not only is the tuition not a problem, but jobs come easier for them due to the credentials on paper. According to Ian Parthenmer from the University of Akron, he stated, "We'll be looking at the education achieved by the parents of the student. This variable is expected to serve as an indicator of the wealth of the family of the student, as well as the wealth or the value that a family has on higher education. Looking at financial social status, does that really equal to the value the family has in higher education? Wealth is normally passed on through generations, and those less fortunate, normally being Black and Latino children, as opposed to white, are the ones who suffer the most, according to IHEP, Institute for Higher Education Policy. While households' median for wealth is 13 times larger than that of a Black household, the article states that it stems from discrimination and systemic barriers in place, thus affecting the American dream. Let us play devil's advocate for a second and discuss why paying for college wouldn't be a great idea. In the same article from University of the People, it states that it can increase the strain on government budget and it could cause a tax inflation. It's estimated that in the article mentioned above that free tuition could accumulate to $800 billion over the span of 11 years. While it's costly, as we previously spoke about, these jobs are vital to the economic advancement of our country. Not having to pay back tuition will allow newly grads to make those big spending decisions, which should make up for the amount being poured into education by the government. How about social status? Some may argue that it's not only wealth that allows the students to get into prestigious schools, but academic schools and hard work. While that may be true, NPR.org, July 2024, 2023, Affirmative Action for Rich Kids, it's more than just legacy admissions by Rolowski, states that many private schools are giving admission advantages to rich kids or less fortunate kids, even though they scored the same SAT scores and had the same exact academic qualifications. All this to say, let us prioritize education in the U.S. for all students. Let's make it a fair game, based on hard work, dedication, and determination, and let our numbers be our qualification, not our backgrounds or our wealth status. The debt when it comes to college is a great burden that I would like to see diminished one day. That, along with the unjust social gap that make it difficult for the lesser fortunate. Thank you. I appreciate your time. Babe, say goodbye.
Bye.